Hi, this is Murray from Second Time Tech, and today I'm going to be talking some on my studio computer and what I did to it. And the other thing is I'm going to go through system number 2 and talk about the use of it and how you could change it into a gaming computer without too much trouble. Now, my studio computer, I did switch it back to the R7-1700, and one thing that I noticed was that after I put in the Corsair 3600 megahertz BDI memory and I did some timings on it, I found that the rendering was still fairly slow compared to what it was before. Now, the biggest thing that I did different was I'm planning on getting a new video card, so I put in an old video card that I had. Well, it's actually an old video card, but it's actually fairly new. I only bought it in February, and it was brand new when I bought it, but it's a GTX 470. So, like, I mean, it's an old card, but I did get it brand new. And it is probably about 30% slower than the RX 580 that I had in there before. And I'm planning on getting a GTX 1070, and that's what I'm hoping to be able to get. So that's why I decided to put the older video card in there and then swap it out whenever I get my 1070. Now, the thing that I found on it was that the rendering times on my videos, it dropped by about 30% from what I had before when I had the 1400 in there, the R5 1400. Now, that was still with the GTX 470 in there, and I thought it was going to do a fair bit better than that, but it's still quite a bit slower than whenever I had the RX 580 in there, because that one I tried to re-render a video just to check and see, and it was 4 minutes and 44 seconds to do a almost 18-minute video whenever I had it all tuned up there as best I could last time with the RX 580 in it. Now this time with the GTX 470 in it, the fastest I could get was about 8 minutes rendering the same video. But if I was using the 1400 in there instead of the 1700, it was like, I think 10 minutes and 30 seconds, something like that. So I still saw about a 30% faster time, but it's still a fair bit lower than, a fair bit higher amount of time than whenever I had the 580 in there. So I'm really wondering what is going to happen whenever I put the GTX 1070 inside. So I got some thinking, and hopefully it'll work the way I'm thinking. But I guess we'll find out. Now, I did overclock the R7-1700 to 3.95 gigahertz at the VCC, or the CPU voltage is at 1.4 volts. So I've got it running there, and it's running fine. And for the memory timings, I didn't do as much as I did last time. This time I still have them at 3200 megahertz, and it's 13, 14, 14, 30, and it's the T1 timing on it. So I still got a few more things I can do to the memory to speed it up. But I checked my Cinebench score, and it is lower than what I had last time, because I've got 1746, and I think last time I had 1781 was the fastest I could get. So I'll tighten up the memory timing some more, and we'll see what we can do from there. Now, I did a little bit more research on the prices of stuff and whatnot on the parts, and whenever I looked at system number 2 that I had talked about there a couple of videos ago, and I said I was going to go through each one of them and just say like what it could do. Basically, this one can do pretty much the same as what the Intel i5-7400 would, and the nice thing on top of that is that it's a starting gaming system at 1080p right away, because it's the Ryzen 5 2400G, and that will do 1080p gaming. Not great, but at least it'll do some. And I guess you have to play around with the quality control and stuff like this and whatnot on the game in order to set it up so that you can get the decent frame rate on your game. But at least you can do it, and then later you can do better than that. So basically what it is, it's a AMD Ryzen 5 2400G with the cooler that comes with it. It has 8 gigabytes of DDR4 2666 megahertz RAM, and it is overclocked to 2800 megahertz at 1.4 volts, and that's all. I didn't do anything to the timings. I just upped the how fast it was going. And of course, it does have the Vega 11 built into the CPU, so it's just onboard graphics. And the video card that I have is an MSI B350M Pro VDH motherboard. It has a 120 gigabyte SSD Kingston A400 drive in there for the boot drive. I did put in Western Digital Blue 1 terabyte hard drive as like a data drive, or a drive that you can put your games on or whatever you want to do. And it has a 500 watt 80 plus bronze power supply, and it's in a Master Box Lite 5 mid tower case. And I have a Logitech K360 keyboard and mouse on it, and it also has Windows 10 Pro on it. And actually, this is it right here, as I guess you must have guessed whenever I was talking about it. Anyway, so basically that one there is good for the internet. YouTube, perfectly, I mean, it works great. You can run all your office work on it. You can do audio on it, and like a DAW, like Cakewalk or Audacity, and it'll work fine. You can put DaVinci Resolve on this, and it'll run, and it will work fine. It will be slower, but it'll work fine. It renders, I think, in about 75% time, I think 75 to 80% time, the way it's sitting right now, because it doesn't have a very good video in it. So the graphics card will make everything go faster. But I mean, if you've got a 10-minute video, it'll render it in 7.5 to 8 minutes, so it's not that bad. And then also, like I had said before, you can drop in a video card, a little bit more memory, and then you've got yourself a really decent gaming system. And I'm basically put in the same thing as what I had put in what I was talking about last week. And I went to the same thing, which is the GTX 1060 3GB, which is the lowest one that I would even think to put in there. And it actually dropped by $1 in price. It was kind of funny. And it's $297.89 for it, for the 3GB 1-fan version. 2-fan version is $307.98. Those are Canadian prices on Amazon Canada. Now, the GTX 1060 6GB, which is, I think, the lowest that I would put in it myself, it's $369.99, because that is a faster card. So I think that's the better one to get. The GTX 1070, the small single fan version, it is $529.99, which actually dropped quite a lot since last week, because I was quite surprised, because I think last week it was still in the $600 price range, if I'm not mistaken. And the other thing that really got me was the RX 580, because I mean, you can run them in there too, like, I mean, and they work very good. You can get an 8GB RX 580 for $377.94 right now, and you can get an RX 570 8GB for $359.99, which is almost $20 cheaper, and it's basically the same card. So the prices are really coming down on the AMD cards right now, so that's really good. Now, to put in another stick of memory in this one has the Ballistic Tactical 8GB 2666 megahertz RAM in it, and I checked the price of one of those 8GB sticks, and it is $118.99. Again, those are all Canadian prices on Amazon Canada. So if you boosted that up to a well, I guess I'd say the least one would be a 1060 6GB. You're looking at about $490, somewhere around there, and you would have like a really good system. And if you wanted to drop another 160 in there, you'd get a GTX 1070, and it'd be like even way better. But like I say, it all depends on what you can afford. I mean, you can put a 1050 Ti in it, a 1050 in it. It'll still be better than what's inside there. But I don't think I would go that low on it. Maybe a 1050 Ti, but because of the difference in the price, like, I mean, I understand that, but the 1050s aren't that much faster. They are faster, but they're not that much faster. I mean, I would wait a couple of months and save up and buy the 1060 3GB, because you're only talking about $40 difference, Canadian type thing. Probably only about 20 in the States. But that's basically what I feel like anyway on it. So there's my analysis on my system number 2 that I had built, or rearranged, or whatever you want to call it, and repurposed. I guess that's the best thing to say. I repurposed it. And so if you liked the video, hit the thumbs up, and if you didn't, hit the thumbs down. And if you'd like to get more of my videos, please subscribe. And if you want to get notifications, you do have to hit the bell, or click the bell, I should say. And then you'll get them. Otherwise, you won't. That's totally up to you. And I do wish everybody a wonderful week. Thank you very much for watching and listening. Bye.